Well, here we are, a couple days after. It is a Tuesday morning now, and so 2 days after Ironman Texas 70.3. For the most part, I'm done kicking myself. It's always a little bit frustrating to come away with fourth and be that close to the podium and not be able to close the deal. I guess the biggest frustration, well, twofold. The biggest frustration is to be that close to the podium and not blow up. I mean, I feel like I need to either get to the podium or blow up trying, and I ran pretty strong all the way to the end. Had a great run, not complaining about that, but really I don't want to miss the podium by, I've got to be able to find that next gear or be willing to go to that line in big races where I either get what I want or kind of explode trying. I was had fourth pretty much locked in, so I needed to be a little bit willing to go a little deeper at the last couple miles of the race. For the most part, happy with the day. I am sitting in the Normatec boots now, trying to recover relatively quickly. I've got Haines City 70.3 coming up this weekend. At least that's the plan as of now. Body is recovering pretty well. I was able to swim, bike, and run today, no issues. Usually I don't really like to run until 3 or 4 days after a race. Was able to get in a little 45-minute jog today, no issues there. The kind of wild card is I have the second vaccine shot tomorrow, and so really just determining how the body responds to that, and that'll decide whether I go. So I did fly home. Originally I was planning on going out straight to Florida, but when I had the opportunity to get the vaccine, I decided to take advantage of that, and so Haines City will be as long as things go as planned. Back to the race. I mean, I really love this course. As you can see, it's really a flat course. There's nothing to block the wind. Every now and then that works out really into your favor and makes a really fast day. A couple years in the past, that's been the case where you have a cross tail coming out, and then on the way back, the wind shifts and you get a cross tail on the way back as well. This one we didn't have that fortune, but that's racing. And so the swim start was about as good as I could have hoped for. I got off to a good start, got off the line well, got some clean water, and was able to get on fast feet early on. I came out of the water with the people I would typically come out of the water with, so I was happy with that. Felt good the entire time. It was a weird chop. I felt like there was times where we weren't really fighting, or we weren't really going with the current, but we weren't. It was just kind of a weird feeling. The protected cove in there in the Gulf that we swim in gives us a lake chop feeling, but there are some currents there, and the wind was playing with things a little bit. So it was a little bit of a slower swim, but I felt good the whole time. I was able to get on the same set of feet early on and just hang on to those the entire time. Never really was an issue. I got into transition for the first time and saw the bikes that I wanted to still be there were there, and so that was a good sign. And obviously you get a chance to see who you came out of the water with, and it was guys that I'm typically swimming with on a decent swim. So happy to get out, get through transition well, and get off onto the ride. Like I said earlier, we had a cross tail early on, so I was enjoying that. Everybody feels good when you have a cross tail, but I always ride pretty well with the tailwinds. I have no problem putting extra power out, and my aerodynamics are in a pretty good way that it's fun to get some good speeds and just enjoy the roads. For the most part, the road surfaces were okay. There were some rough sections and quite a bit of glass. Unfortunately, there were a couple of guys. I just passed Jackson Landry, and he's a guy I typically swim and ride with. And unfortunately, right as I passed him, he got a flat tire. There were a couple other guys that got a flat as well. But that's those Texas roads can be that way sometimes, and that's all part of it. You always make a decision on the tires that you use based on the conditions, and you got to take risks sometimes, and you know, so it's unfortunate every now and then you get bit. Got out to the turnaround. I was about 40 seconds down from Ben Canute, who was riding with Lionel at the time. So Lionel had gone by me, a couple other guys as well. I had just caught Justin Metzler right around the turnaround point as well. Started riding pretty well into, you know, the first couple minutes into the headwinds, and unfortunately my back didn't like something about things on the day, and it seized up, and my power just went away. I had put a gap on a couple of guys, and you know, was still riding pretty well for the first couple minutes into the headwinds, and then it just locked up on me, and about halfway on the return trip, I'd been dropped by the main group. I could no longer really even see them. Originally, I was holding them right in sight, the lead group there, and was riding strong at about a minute to a minute 15 down. And by the end of it, I came in to transition. I had lost a lot of spots and had people catch up to me again that I had passed earlier on, and it was a pretty frustrating situation. I wasn't riding near my best, and riding into the headwinds, I've got a small spondy, which is a small fracture in one of the transverse processes in the spine, and unfortunately the headwinds are something that always seem to flare it up. I'm constantly working on that with Kevin Purvis, my strength coach, as well as Matt Bottrell, my bike coach, and so back to the drawing board a little bit with that, but we'll get it figured out. And then got through transition 2, really good transition 2, no issues there. Got onto the run, legs were there, back settled down right away, which was fortunate. So I was really able to go ahead and start pushing. I came out of transition with a couple guys who can definitely run. Justin Metzler's running really well. He was coming out of transition right behind me. Michael Weiss was right in front of me, and so I ran pretty hard right out of the bat to try to just get into a good rhythm and start picking off the gap that the front guys had created. I needed to keep it under 2 minutes, I felt, at the start of the day, and to give myself a chance, and got word that it was about 3:10 to the lead, and so it was. I knew I had my work cut out for me, so I went to work to try to put together one of those really good runs, and I felt strong the entire time. The couple sub 5 miles in there early on, and then I settled into about 5:10, 5:15 per mile, and just tried to hold on and get back to speed as quickly as I could. Galveston's a flat run for the most part, but it does have a ton of turns, and so it was trying to get out of those turns as quickly as I could, get back up into speed, and settle back into rhythm. I was able to pick off a few guys that were in that lead group, but unfortunately I ran out of real estate, and hats off to Lionel. He had a great day. Ben Canute was one that, on the start of the third lap, I thought I was sitting in a good place to have a chance to catch him, and he ended up running a really solid last lap, and ended up catching Sam right at the end. So all three of those guys had a great race, and it was a solid field, definitely a fun race to be a part of. And I'm running a low 109 is nothing to scoff at. Definitely one of the best runs that I've put out, and got some more work to do to figure out the back issues on the bike, especially on those windiest days, and so back to the drawing board for that. Otherwise, it's hopefully off to Haines City, and we'll go from there. Just for fun, here's the post-race interview done by Kenny Withrow right after the race. A little bit scrambled, but that's all right. So enjoy that, and then also huge thanks to Talbot Cox for giving me some of the videos that have been overlaying here from the actual race itself. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.
All right, Matthew, give me a rundown.
Overall, it was a decent day. Swam pretty well. I was happy with where I came out of the water. Felt great on the way out. Hard not to feel good with that big of a tailwind. Coming back into the wind, back was not loving me too much, and I rode pretty good the first 20 minutes into the headwind, and then just gave up too much time in the last 15 miles or so to the group, and felt good on the run. The fitness is definitely there. Just got to clean a few things up pacing wise on the bike. Came back fourth overall, you know, happy with that. A little bit too much slack to the lead, but that's what next week's for.